My name is Alina Brooks, and I'm 31. The soft sound of a vintage swing playlist drifted through my apartment. Deep trumpet notes, slow piano keys, the kind of music that made everything feel expensive. On my second screen, a wedding mood board glowed with that warm, rustic gold tone my mother had obsessed over for months. I could practically smell the ivory garden roses I had just wired the payment for. $14,000. Finally assigned a purpose. That quiet satisfaction, the kind that comes when every number in your spreadsheet aligns perfectly, when chaos is forced into order by sheer effort. Then a notification slid across the screen. Drop a comment and tell me where you're watching from and what time it is there. I didn't close the email beneath it. I let it sit, bright, unmoving. My mother's words glared back at me. You might feel uncomfortable attending. Perfectly polished cruelty, disguised as compassion. My exclusion framed as kindness, like she was sparing me the embarrassment of ruining her perfect photos. I leaned back in my chair and looked around my home office. Minimal, organized, efficient, just like me. For years, I had been the problem solver, the fixer, the invisible engine that kept things running. And for over a decade, my biggest project had not been corporate operations. It had been my family. I opened a new spreadsheet. I needed to see the truth in numbers. Venue deposit, $14,500 wired from my savings because my father, Mark, said his funds were tied up. Live jazz band, $3,000. Non-refundable because my mother said recorded music was cheap. Imported garden roses, $2,800. Flown in out of season to match the napkin color. The list kept growing. I opened a second tab. Last winter, when their heating system collapsed during a blizzard, who made the emergency call at 2 a.m. and paid the $4,100 invoice? Me. Who digitized their entire store inventory because they were still using notebooks from the early 90s? Me. Who managed passwords, taxes, medical appointments, payroll software? Me. I wasn't their daughter. I was their operations department. The total at the bottom of the column felt unreal. Life-changing money. A house down payment. A future I had quietly liquidated piece by piece just to stay relevant in their world. And suddenly, I understood. I hadn't been buying a place at their table. I had been paying rent. I told myself I was just being responsible, the good daughter, the reliable one. That was a lie. I wasn't generous. I was being drained. My worth had always been measured in usefulness. My brother Evan never had to fix anything to be loved. He never had to pay to belong. He just existed. And that was enough. He was charming, carefree, the golden child. His helplessness was adorable. My competence was mandatory. I thought about something I once read, The Trap of Normalization. It's when dysfunction becomes so familiar that you stop seeing the cost attached to it. You start believing it's normal to buy affection with labor, to purchase respect with rescue. Because the alternative, that your parents only value you when you're useful, is too painful to face. But what I felt now wasn't pain. It was clarity. Cold. Absolute. Mathematical. They didn't want me there because I ruined the picture. I wasn't rustic. I wasn't decorative. I was functional. They wanted the wedding I paid for. They didn't want the reminder of who paid for it. They wanted the illusion, not the infrastructure. I checked the time. 5:17 p.m. The banks were closed, but online portals never sleep. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I opened my contract folder, scrolled to the wedding agreement.
Force majeure. Cancellation without penalty if the contract holder is prevented from attending. Well, the contract holder had just been banned. I cracked my knuckles. The sadness powered down. The engine switched on. If they want a curated life, I thought, then I'll curate the ending. I typed, contract holder excluded, funding withdrawn, process refund immediately. I clicked submit, green turned to red, Canceled. Pending refund. Just like that, $14,500 began its return. But the wedding was just the surface. Their real lives ran on systems I built, managed, and paid for. I logged into their business admin panel. They owned a boutique home decor shop they liked to claim they ran alone. They didn't. I did. Inventory, payroll, cloud storage, user permissions. There they were. Mark and Linda, standard users. I was the root administrator. I revoked both access tokens. Then the smart home system, locks, cameras, thermostat. I removed their devices. Not trapping them inside, just removing the magic. Finally, the shared phone plan. I moved my line to a private account, removed autopay from theirs. 30 days until shutdown. Total time, 12 minutes. 12 minutes to dismantle 10 years of invisible labor. The machine went dark. I closed my laptop. The apartment fell quiet. Not lonely. Finished. I poured a glass of water and watched the streetlights flick on. The storm was coming. For the first time in my life, I wouldn't be the one standing in the rain. The first message came from Evan. Netflix password isn't working. That's what mattered most to him. I didn't reply. Then the real panic began. Call after call, texts piling up. The store system won't open. The alarm is going crazy. Can't access the bank. The venue says everything is canceled. They weren't hurt. They were inconvenienced. Their tool had stopped working. I thought about the idea of narcissistic injury, when identity collapses because the reflection disappears. Their lifestyle wasn't owned, it was leased, and I had canceled the contract. The next morning, I met my cousin Marina, a real estate attorney. We sat in a cafe near her office. She reviewed the paperwork. It's ironclad, she said. They can't touch you financially, but are you ready for what comes next? I need a record search. I need to know what they've been hiding. She typed, then froze. Elena, they filed for a deed transfer 3 weeks ago. To which property? The lake cabin. They're transferring it to Evan. The cabin my grandfather built. The one I renovated with my own hands. They were stealing it and using my wedding fund to celebrate it. The vow renewal wasn't just a party. It was an announcement, a gift, wrapped in my labor. I took the documents. Print everything. This is cruel, Marina said. No, I replied. This is accounting. That evening, my father arrived at my door unannounced. Angry, loud, demanding, blaming me for lawsuits, humiliation, embarrassment. I waited until he finished yelling, then handed him the deed transfer papers. He went pale. Was that going to be the toast? I asked calmly, after the champagne I paid for. He tried to justify it. Evan needed help. I was independent, strong, capable. That tax again. Punishment for competence. I'm not angry about the house, I said. I'm angry that you tried to make me pay for the celebration of my own erasure. He begged, tried to regain control, unfreeze everything. I stepped back. I'm just matching the energy you taught me. He reached for sympathy. We're your family. I looked him in the eye, repeating the exact words that started it all. It's not personal. I just wouldn't be comfortable anymore. And I closed the door. The aftermath was quiet. The kind of quiet only collapse creates. The event never happened. Their business failed within months. The house was sold. The cabin was liquidated. Evans sent one angry email. I archived it. I moved. New city, new place. Modern, bright, mine. I stopped living as a support system for people who only loved the system. And sometimes, late at night, I missed the idea of family. But every time I felt that ache, I remembered the price tag attached to their love. and I chose peace instead. There's a message I wish every invisible child could hear. To the one who fixes everything, to the one who pays quietly, to the one who holds the family together while being erased from the photo, you are allowed to resign. Your worth is not transactional. Your competence is not rent. You do not exist to stabilize unstable people. You are allowed to stand in your own life. And if you've ever had to buy your place at the family table, share this. Let's remind each other, we are enough.